Sego everyone, Chief Sherri-Lyn Hill here. Nyawa and thank you to the weekly Chief and Council radio show. It's been another busy week in and around the council chambers. It was an honor to provide opening remarks to the Mental Wellness Conference last weekend at the Gathering Place. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to our dedication, mental health, and addictions team for their tireless efforts for the well-being of our community. Also, it was a lot of fun spreading as much cheer as possible last Sunday during Pay It Forward Day. It was a day to encourage people to do small acts of kindness. It was great seeing so many people in our community out and about. I hope they enjoyed their coffee, flowers, cookies, and donuts. The kickoff for Community Awareness Week was Wednesday for the First Responders Brunch. Council served the food and had great conversations with our brave emergency responders who put their lives on the line every day to ensure our safety and well-being in our community. Nyawa and thank you for everything you do. Now let's get down to business. This week and the next couple of weeks is an opportunity to hear from your elected councillors. This week features inspiring words and progress updates from Councillor Alaina VanEvery and Councillor Hazel Johnson. Enjoy the show, everyone, and welcome Councillor Alaina VanEvery.
Sego Guego, Alaina VanEvery Youngyats. Good day, everyone. My name is Alaina VanEvery. I am Mohawk Wolf Clan, and I am one of your newly elected 59th council members. Today, I'd like to connect with you and share with you a little bit about why I joined council, what my personal philosophy is about, some of the roadblocks that I've seen so far, and a little bit about how I see us moving forward and looking forward into the future. Joining council was an endeavor that took a little bit of time, although I do believe that everything happens in the right time. So 2023 was the year that I was successful. And I'm excited about it because the table had changed. We added more council members. We were moving from 9 to 12, which I think we all saw in the last term, left the community with less individuals trying to help move us forward. So looking at the table now with 12 people, it's, in my opinion, very well rounded. We have people from different walks of life. We have people with different education backgrounds and different philosophies and ways of looking at things and perspectives. So I'm very excited about the conversations that we have had and the conversations that we will have. And moving forward into the future, there are many opinions around the table. What I am excited about as well is that we've all made such an effort to connect with one another and get along and move towards solutions, and the conversations have been very impactful on me. One of the things I would like to share with everyone that may not have heard it, we're 6 months in, but we have embarked on an extensive orientation process with this 59th council that had never taken place before. And what we began with was a trauma-informed training approach day, where the counselors, old and new, took training at Gunakwishra, which they offer, which I totally support anyone in taking, because it began our term with an understanding that each of us, council members, community members, those that work in the community for the community, all have a shared history in trauma, and we're all at different places there, but it allowed me in particular, I won't speak for anyone else, but me in particular, to look at situations a little bit differently from the get-go. So being respectful and understanding that everybody is at a different place and may not be able to understand what you're speaking about right away. You might have to break down some walls before making a connection with someone. And that is true around the table, and it's true out in the community when we're speaking with people. And I really appreciated the administration for giving us that opportunity, because it set a tone for speaking with community members that are in times of need and in times of stress and distress. And those are the things that I think will make a better council, a connected council with people who are compassionate and empathetic. So starting on that note, we took about 4 months to orient ourselves with the administration, with all of the departments, with employees, and not just employees, community members who work for us. And they shared why they want to continue working for the community and their visions of how things should be or what they would like to see in the future. So now we've been here 6 months, and we've had many meetings and many orientation sessions. And some of the things that I would like to take the opportunity to speak about are the roles and responsibilities of not only myself and the table as a whole, but also the community. I believe that it is my responsibility to be kind and respectful to every one of our community members. It is you who have put me in this position, and I appreciate the opportunity, and I would like to make the most of it. The role of the table as a whole, I believe, is to come together when we have challenges and when we have ideas for the future, and have a wholesome conversation. And the roles of the community, I believe, although we are divided at times over things, we have seen us come together in times of crisis and unify. And the role of the community, I believe, is to also be respectful. There have been times in just this 6 months of this term that I have witnessed and may not have paid too much attention to it before, and maybe it's because I was not in this role, where community members have taken out their displeasure at things that were happening in the community on the elected officials, over social media, or on people in the administration, people that work for our community. And I completely understand that with this trauma-informed training that we've had the opportunity to take, that sometimes that does happen. But I would encourage the community to try to remain respectful while this time of growth is happening and this time of change, because change is hard, and I understand we are frustrated. We're frustrated as community members that things don't happen as quickly as we would like them to happen, or in the way that we would like them to happen. But I assure every one of you that the people around the table at council are doing their best and have the best intentions for the community as a whole, and for the individuals that have needs that are not being met. In saying that change is hard and growth takes time, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we have come up with in terms of committees, the committee structure, which is a little bit new. I was told that previous to this council and the last council, there were 4 committees. What we've done now is increase the number of committees, and there are 2 to 3 councillors per committee. So my responsibilities for the next little while will be wealth and economy, internal systems, and built environment and climate adaptation. I'm very excited about the Wealth and Economy Committee. This is newly established, and what I see this committee doing is a lot of community engagement, and that's what I would like to see. There is potential for our community to become very wealthy Internal systems is interesting because that is the committee that is responsible for IT, communications, human resources, and finance. I have a little bit of a background with accounting and bookkeeping. I have ran my own business for upwards of 15 years with at most six employees. So I have some background in HR. Communications is interesting and exciting. This radio show is testament to that. This 59th Council is interested in being more personable and having our voices out into the community in different ways. Built environment and climate adaptation is an amalgamation of two committees, two departments, multiple departments actually. Built environment, I believe, was set to be its own, and environment and climate adaptation was set to be its own committee. We have amalgamated those. So we are now built environment and climate adaptation. And what that committee will look at is obviously the community around us, the infrastructure around us, and also the environment and those concerns. I would like to say that I understand that there have been questions from the community and in the community about committees and the structures. And what I would like to share with everybody is that it is your right as a community member to have time at any one of these committees. So should you have a request or need information, the process to get onto the agenda at these committee meetings is the same as trying to get onto the general council agenda. And we very much look forward to, me in particular, very much look forward to, and have already met with many community members that have suggestions or see concerns within these multiple committees. As always, you're welcome to communicate with the councillor of your choice. That councillor may forward your concern to the chair or co-chair of whichever committee that should be hearing your concern, so that you're getting the most efficient support possible. So it has been a long 6 months. I'm sure within the community we were looking for quicker growth. I would like to share, though, that this orientation that has taken place was very necessary for me as a new councillor, and I've seen how beneficial it was for the incumbent councillors. So with that in mind, we would like to get working, and we have been. We've had about 2 committee meetings per committee so far, and we're all very excited to get to work and get things moving around here. I appreciate this time to talk with you and give you a little bit of an introduction. Please don't hesitate to stop me anywhere in the community when you see me and speak with me. I'm open to hearing concerns and criticisms, and I'd be happy to speak with you. And now we'll hear from my colleague, Hazel Johnson.
Thanks, Alaina. My name is Hazel Johnson, and I'm a Six Nations councillor. This is my 4th term of being in office. It's been quite the adventure. However, it's also been rewarding. At times it's been very challenging, and I think that's what comes with being a councillor. You have to realize that the challenges may not always be the best that you're going to experience, but there are so many things that are rewarding. And I always keep in mind that our time here as councillors is really for you, the people of our community. We need to be a strong community, and that's what I want to strive for. You know, a lot of current problems are mental health and drug addictions and things like that. But I think if we all work together and start to address these situations and have a conference like that occurred last weekend, which was very well attended. And I came away from that event really feeling that our survivors of residential school, the pain and suffering that they all endured, and that was a beginning of what they call our community's health issues that have never been addressed or been helped to take them away. But I think that's where we're all sitting today, is in that position of we're going to challenge this, the effects that we've been left with. And I just want to say to all the survivors that were there, they were so awesome. It was emotional. It was a time of meeting people you haven't seen for a while. Some of the survivor panels were my age when we were young, growing up together as neighbors, and the impacts of all of that. I remember the feelings back then of just thinking that they had to go to the residential school, and it felt painful then as a young child. So with that, I'll move on to the next topic, I guess, is in my family, I grew up on Six Nations, grew up on a farm. There was nine brothers and sisters. I'm always thankful for the learnings that we were taught, and our learnings occurred through hard work. Going to high school, having to work on a farm, milk cows, help at harvesting time, and in the summer, going off to work in tobacco fields, berry patches, and getting our own funding, because back then when you started high school, you had to pay all your own textbooks. So we were busy doing all of that, and we were buying our own clothes, which helped our mom out a great deal. And when I think back on that, I don't think anybody should feel afraid of work, because work is what makes you who you are. And it gives you stability. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And like this life that we all live, we all have to find our true selves and what our passions are. I know my siblings in my family, they produced two teachers, 2 nurses. My brother Bill was the chief. As for myself, I know I felt like I had let my dad down, because he wanted me to be a nurse too, but I ended up being an office worker and now in politics. So, but I think Dad will forgive me for that. And going forward with our council, I feel that this council has really got the stamina, the knowledge, and the desire to make things happen. We need to work with our entire community, and I see that starting now. We want to include everybody, and whatever you feel, don't be afraid to bring it to our attention, because we are the same as everybody else in the community. We want the best for all of us. And as far as challenges, yes, that's part of life. I think our challenges now that I've already mentioned is to help our reserve to become safer for everyone, because everyone is so special. You're put here by the Creator, and we have to remember that all of our time here, we've been put here, and our accomplishments and whatever we do is our part of giving back to the community. With May becoming the month that we have community awareness, it's almost like an exciting feeling, because everything is starting to grow and blossom. And right now you can hear somebody outside cutting grass. See, that's a sign of spring. And then you see the dandelions for sure. And I was trying to think back to what country has to plant their dandelions, and here we're cutting them all down. So I guess we're not favoring the dandelions, because they seem to be like too many of them. I can see the difference in this current 59th Council, because it's almost you're assured that what we've discussed to date, of how and where we want to go. You have to create your strategic plan. And of course, nothing is easy because you do have your stumbling blocks. But I think we're getting there. And it feels, when you know where you're going and what you're doing, it feels safe to you. I think all of my colleagues, they all respect each other. They have good communication. And this new system that we're just right now trying out and being assigned to various committees that are in keeping with the community plan. Like I've been assigned on the health and well-being, and I'm excited for Six Nations on what's coming. I think the community will be fully satisfied, and once that's all in place and happening, I know the people will feel that they're well taken care of. The next thing that I think is on the horizon is Iroquois Lodge. We need a new lodge. We need a lot of new infrastructure. Our buildings are quite old. The community does know that Ganyos is now shut down due to problems with potential mold. And sometimes things that occur are like a blessing in disguise, and it gives you that look where you have to look into it and see what's really the matter and give the people, the employees within there, like health and safety is a very important matter in any organization. And health and safety's motto always was that we always have to consider and make sure that everybody goes home safe at night. I think that was ground into us when we first began the Health and Safety Committee here. So that's what's happening now at Ganyos. Everybody's been taken out of there pretty well, and I'm sure they're in there now kind of checking things out. The next thing is the palliative care for this community. I know it's been a long time coming, but rest assured, it's coming. Those places like that are sort of like at the end of life, but we all need that place when we're in a process of losing our loved ones. In looking forward, there's matters that haven't really been dealt with that I want to bring back to the table for us to address. And I know a lot of people will be in agreement with my idea that I want to address the tax that's imposed on our people. Even though the Indian Act declares us to be tax exempt, and the amount of tax that is being levied on all our people here, especially that carbon tax, people can hardly pay their bills with. The carbon tax is out of sight. Another problem is the excise tax, that people that are running a business, the excise shouldn't even be on there. But the government is sure collecting every bit of tax that they can garner. And I always say that the Indian Act was written that Native people are tax exempt. Tax, the word tax is a real little letter word, and they've dissected it into all kinds of various names, like the GST. We still pay that when we go shopping. And I recall when that was coming into effect, I understood that it was declared to be temporary. Temporary is a real long time. And it's just those facts of what the Native people have endured, what the Native people have been still, I guess I'm going to say, ordered around by the government. Everything we do, it's almost like you run into stumbling blocks. And I'm sure the whole community knows about the land situation here, and the fact that we will be going to court. And it's unfortunate that it seems to me that the government is almost trying to stall that. So when you have to meet for a situation in order to have our community concerns it's almost like the government always stalls and don't have time to meet with you to address the issues. I think the best way is to meet with the ministers and to speak face to face and not come out with a well thought out plan of how to get to the word no at the end of a 20 or 30-minute speech. Every darn one of them has come, and at the end of their speech, example being the Gowaneo School. It's a school that's been developed that addresses the language and culture. What better way to teach a child the language is to begin when they're little wee people. Their learning is quite sharp, and by the time that they graduate, they're fluent. We have many of the graduates from Gowaneo who have achieved that fluency through attending the Gowaneo School. We were excited when Mark Miller came out a couple years ago. They come out, they go through the building. It's just a cement box upstairs in the arena, and there's one bathroom. Even though they see all that, they give you this long speech after, and in the context of that speech, it's always no. And I just hope that in this term of office, that somehow we as the council can address funding for this community, because we need infrastructure. We need our roads fixed. We need the water lines hooked up. There's still a lot of people that don't have water coming to their homes. We were denied the water settlement dollars that were included for many other First Nations, saying, I guess we didn't fit into the boil water, but if you hear people's story on water, and I'm one of them, where we had 2 wells and a cistern and still had to buy water all the time. Right from the time we moved into our home, 54 years later, we ended up buying water. And can you imagine the amount of money that have costed for that long of time? So I just hope that in going forward that my term here on Six Nations Council will see good things happening, more good things, because that's what everybody wants for the community. I've heard each of our colleagues mention what they want to see here, and I'm really confident that this council is going to make things happen.
Nyawa, and thank you, Councillor Johnson and Councillor VanEvery, for those inspiring words. Just another reminder to check out all the great activities going on during our Community Awareness Month. Until our next episode, have a great week, take care, be safe, be well, and be kind.